The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. On your GoToMeeting panel, you should have a raise my hand icon. If you can hear me, please raise your hand. All right, I see several hands going up. Very good. Thank you very much for that. So we will go ahead and get started here. I'll share my screen. All right, welcome to the Ultriva Reports webinar. My name is Lori McNeely. I've been supporting Ultriva for more than 5 years, and joining me is Nandu Gopalan. He's been supporting Ultriva from the very beginning. We will go over a few FAQs here. If you have a question, please type that into the question box on the GoToMeeting panel. We'll try to get to everything as we go through or at the end. We will be recording this webinar, and we will have it available for future viewing on the help site. We are recording this right now, so give us a few days. By next Monday, we should have this on the website. We do host these kind of the third Thursday of the month. Our next webinar is going to be on November 21st. And we'll kind of continue this reports theme a little bit, and we will go through some of the Excel reports next time around. And as always, we are doing these in 7.5 and higher. A few things about this particular webinar. We hope you gain a better understanding of some of these common Ultriva reports. We're going to have a few short surveys for you, and we'll give you the results of those. Also, as a note, there is a reports reference guide on the help site. I kind of have like a little screenshot here of where you can find that. So in case there are other reports later on, if you want to view, you can have a look here. All right, I guess maybe before we get too far into this, we will go ahead and have our first poll question. I will go ahead and launch this for you. So if you could please submit an answer here. How familiar are you with the red item analysis report? Maybe you run it a lot, maybe you ran it a few times. Maybe you didn't know the report existed, or maybe just something else. Maybe someone else is a little more responsible for the reports. I see the votes coming in. All right, I will give it another second here. All right, I think the voting has leveled off a little bit. I will go ahead and close this, and I'll share the results with you. All right, it looks like about half the people have never ran the report, don't really know what it's all about, so we're going to learn a little bit more about this one here in a few minutes. All right, I've got one more question for you, please. We'll launch this one. So the card aging report. How familiar are you with that, if any? Got some votes coming in. Looks like over half the people have voted. Give it about 10 more seconds here. All right. Ooh, got about 83% of the vote here. I will go ahead and close this one. All right, we'll share the results here with everybody. Looks like over half the people haven't ran the report, didn't know about it, so it sounds like we're all here to learn today. All right, we'll go ahead and jump right into this with the supplier performance. Okay, with that, you can track your on-time performance for the shipment accuracy. It's kind of comparing your required ship date with the actual ship date, or the receive date versus the required receive date. You can see if you can drill down to the item level and see if there are specific items that are maybe causing an issue. And you can also use this to help determine the safety stock. So, if your supplier's a little bit late, you're maybe going to need to bump up that safety stock a little bit. So with that, we will go ahead and jump right in here with the report and the Supplier Performance report. So you put in a date range. I'm going to kind of put in like the last quarter here, and we'll do with the shipment accuracy. See how well they adhered to the ship date. There's an early tolerance. So if the supplier were to ship early, you can either ignore early shipments, or if they were within 1 day or 2 days, you can ignore. You can put in your tolerance there of what you want it to ignore. But at this point, for my testing purposes here, I'm just going to ignore the early tolerance. I'm not real concerned about that. There is also a late tolerance. So if they ship within 1 day of the required ship date, the report would factor that in. So. But I'm going to leave it as 0 because, I kind of want to know just exactly how well they did with that. So I'm going to go ahead and show this.
Yeah. Typically what this report will give you for every individual suppliers, what is the how many cards to be shipped within the time frame, and how many cards actually the supplier has shipped in the system, and within that how many cards they have shipped it on time, and based on that we will calculate the delivery performance. So also we will suggest what is going on. Typically, if the supplier performance is 95%, you may have to carry 5%, and if the supplier performance is 30%, you may have to carry 70% extra inventory to compensate the supplier performance. So this is our key performance indicator. So if you can drill down on the particular vendor, so what this will do is it will expand it, and it will go by part. The same set of information will be shown in here, and then you can see, okay, in most of our the places, if you talk to the supplier, what is your lead time, they will say 5 days or 6 days or X amount of days. They don't go by individual part number. What the system does it in here is, for every individual part, what is the actual actual lead time, and then it calculates all this. So if a particular part has got a trouble, so then you can go back and look at your cycle time, or you can talk to the supplier what's going on that particular part and fix it, so that you can eliminate the stock out and reduce extra inventory you need to carry based on the supplier performance. So for an example, if you click onto that supplier who has the 98%, it will open up, and then it will give you for every individual part number, and it will suggest you, okay, how many cards to be shipped, and how many cards the supplier has actually shipped it, how many cards they have shipped it on time. So based on that, it will do that. So you can usually see that one particular part number has got a lower performance. Then we can take that one particular part number and analyze it and fix the problem at the root, so that supplier performance can be enhanced, and we don't stock out or getting the parts into red, so that we have to analyze it more and more and more.
All right. We will go back. All right, I think we're ready to go back here to our next report here, which will be our red item analysis report. And with this, if you got a red item, generally it means someone perhaps the buyer needs to take action on some of the red items. This particular report will help you determine where the problem is. A lot of times if the item is red, it's either going to be one of two things: increasing demand, you're consuming more than you thought you were, or perhaps there are late shipments that are due from your supplier. So you can run this one of two ways. So if you do run it for the late deliveries, it will show you all of the late orders, what's expected next, and when you're going to stock out. If you run it for the increasing demand, it's going to show you your increased usage and suggest how many cards should be added to compensate for your increased usage, and how many days until you are going to stock out. So we will come back here and we will do this, what we're doing, red item analysis report here. So first we will run this with late deliveries. If there was a particular supplier we were interested in, we could start typing that in here or press the space bar to get a list of all of the suppliers. In this instance, I do want to run this for everyone, so I'm going to just do a show report.
Yeah, basically, as you know that in the home screen you can see the red, yellow, green indicator. A part can go into red only on two conditions. One is the supplier didn't ship the parts on time, or we are consuming faster than what we thought. So the first one is the supplier's late delivery. When you click onto the supplier late delivery, it will give you every individual part number and who is the supplier, how many cards we are having it on hand, how many are supposed to be on hand by this time, and also it will show you the target percentage and how many cards are late, and number of days due, then cards in transit, whether the supplier has shipped it or not, and when you can expect that delivery, and how many days worth of material you are having it on hand. So the advantage of this is this will help you to negotiate with the supplier what is the root cause for the problem on this particular part. That could be because they may not have their raw material, or they have some other manufacturing issues, or it can be we might have thought that the lead time is only X amount of days and it takes a little longer than what we thought. So if we can analyze this and then fix that at the root cause, the next time the part will not come into red because of the supplier delivery performance. So you can also see some of the parts are zero, that is you already stocked out. Some part numbers, the second part number for an example, even though you have 4 days of inventory, but it has gone into red because there is a potential that you may stock out on this particular part based on the lead time set in the system and the supplier safety stocks, all that put together. The system calculates how many days worth of materials you have, and then it will suggest you to either negotiate with the supplier or go back and review the cycle time and fix that at the root cause so that we don't get this part into red frequently. That is the whole idea of this supplier late shipment. The same way what we can also do is, can you go back to there are few part numbers you can do based on your increasing in demand.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right.
So when you select the item with increased demand, you can see 2 part numbers in this particular demo system where this has gone into red because we have started consuming more than what we anticipated. For an example, in this particular first case, you have 1 card on hand and you are supposed to have 2, and then what percentage of this one you have. And standard usage set in the system is 10 pieces per day, but you are consuming 26.74. So that is the increase in your consumption. So the system is suggesting you may need to add 1 more Kanban so that you don't have to manage it frequently because your consumption has gone up. So the same way the next part number, it is recalculating everything and then giving you. So you need to have that many cards to manage it. Otherwise, you will either stock out or about to stock out. So what we recommend is on these red item analysis, you don't have to look into that on a daily basis. You can look at it once a week or once a month at a scheduled interval so that we can avoid these type of the parts going into red, and you can run your Kanban so smooth.
All right, we have one question about this particular report on how can I run this report for only Kanban items. So it sounds like some folks also have some forecast items that are showing on the report. Nandu, I believe you've maybe, and then somebody else just now commented, hey, we need to ignore forecast items on this. So have you talked to engineering about that?
No, we can add. We can put it into our request, and then we can add that into our next release.
All right. So yeah, we understand the need for that, because if you've got a forecast item, it doesn't matter as much if it's in red. So we will add this to to our customer request. All right, thank you, those couple of you who mentioned that. All right, next we can go through the card aging report. And with that, this will analyze how long your cards have been in a particular status. Generally, when you run this, you want to run it with the status of on hand and aged for more than, n number of days. There are some newer features to this so that you could run this, maybe for cards that are in transit for X number of days. But for the most part, as this report was first intended, was to see how many cards that you had on hand for more than X number of days. And because of that, this will help you locate any lost cards that may be in the system, and you can kind of see how well your FIFO is being managed. So let's have another look at let's have another look at this card aging report. All right. All right, here we go. Report and card aging. Okay, so we can run this for a particular item if you're interested in an item or a product line or commodity code. In this example, I'm just going to do it for one supplier here, and I'm going to do it for on hand more than 90 days. And we will do a show report here.
Okay. Typically, what this report does is it will help you to maintain first in, first out. And number two is how long you are carrying that particular part or inventory on your shelf. And then and sometimes you may have to do some audit to make sure that that particular card is on hand still. So for an example, in this particular example, we are displaying that item number, description, and what status card state it is in, whether it is on hand or in transit or whatever it is, and how many cycles that particular card has gone through, who is the supplier, and which location you are storing that particular part number, and also when you have last time received that part and what quantity you received it, when we are expecting, this card should have been scanned on the same day because the lead time is very short. Lori, can you scroll it right?
Yes,
on this
yes.
report?
Yeah,
so this will also show you, how many days you are carrying that particular card. So this in this particular example, you have it is a demo system; it's not the real data. So 401 days you are having this card. Either this part might have been an obsolete part, still we are carrying some inventory, or if you have multiple cards and using it, this card might have been sitting on the corner of the shelf where you are using the other part numbers, and it is better to use that so that you can do a first in first out basis. And typically in some of the places when we deployed this report, we have seen a lot of parts which are on the shelf for more than 600 days. What we recommended was first to start with 500. If anything more than 500, go and clear this out, and then go into 400, 300, 200 to bring it to 15 days, so that it will become so much easier. You can also see that whether you can easily catch even if somebody has taken the part, forgot to scan or something like that. So it will be very much easier for you to manage it on the floor. So this report is very useful. This was added in 7.5 to manage the Kanbans in an effective way.
All right. All right, so let's get back here. Right. So let's see. Did we just now do? Okay, cycle time. Is that where I believe that's where we are. So cycle time. That will compare your actual lead time in Ultriva with your supplier's manufacturing lead time, and also the same for the transit time. You know, whatever's set in Ultriva. And it's going to suggest to you if maybe the lead time or transit time may need further analysis. And with this cycle time, you can also drill down to the individual card level to see if everything's cycling at the same rate. You know, we were just kind of talking about the whole FIFO thing. So you can kind of see that if you're drilling down to the actual item level. We've got a little screenshot here for this item. And we can see within this period, 3-month period, several of these cards cycled 15 times. Some only cycled about half that. And there's one card here that only cycled 1 time. So we may need to look a little further into this. So with that, let's go ahead and we will dive into this cycle time report. There it is. All right, and again, you put in the date range that you want to review any suppliers or leave it blank for all of them. Same for product line and commodity code. So we will have a look here.
Yeah. Basically, cycle time report is one of a very effective report in the system, and it will help us to do the continuous improvement matrix. This is one of the key report which helps us to reduce your inventory, reduce your lead time, or increase your lead time based on the supplier performance and supplier shipment pattern. And this is very important. We would like our customers to look into this report at least once a month, so that which part are in sync with what the lead time set in the system. Because if you really see any supplier, if you even in this particular sample, the supplier says 15 days is my lead time. When you really look at it, 85% of their time goes for planning, and 15% of the time is the actual manufacturing time. So typically, the suppliers will always give longer lead time. If they give a longer lead time, ultimately what happens is we are carrying, as a customer, we are carrying so much of inventory. The best way to reduce inventory, because your usages are going to be the thing which is going to vary every day in and day out. The only way if you want to reduce the inventory is to reduce the supplier lead time. So to accomplish that, this report is very, very important. So what this report does is, for each and every individual part number, it is taking the actual lead times, the lead time set in our system, versus what is the average lead time the supplier takes. from the time you order, the time you ship. So that's the time what we consider it as a lead time. That's actually typical manufacturing lead time for the supplier. And then the transit time. So actually what is the transit time set in the system versus the actual transit time for that many cycle, and it also calculates the standard deviation and makes the suggestion whether you need to increase or decrease your lead time so that you can save your inventory. You can reduce your inventory in much better way. So in this particular example, the system was set for 15 days. Actually, it took only 2.63 days. So we are carrying 13 days of inventory. When you start initially, when you talk about this to the supplier, no, this data is not right. Or they will come back and say, hey, if I run out of my raw material, it will take 15 days time. So typically I used to ask the suppliers, how many times you stock out on those parts in a year? So if it takes 2 to 3 times, just for 2 to 3 times as a customer, we are carrying so much of inventory. Is there a way we can negotiate or talk to the suppliers with the actual data? It will help us to improve. The simple example, when I first deployed this report in 2002, I still remember the supplier named Budnik. They had the lead time of 15 days. When I ran that after 90 days, I saw that it was just 3 days. The lead time was just 3 days. We negotiated. Initially, supplier was really resistant to change the date. Then we suggested that, okay, instead of going from 15 days to 3 days, we will start doing it for 10 days and see how it works. We put that for 10 days and ran for 6 months. There was no problems at all. Then we went back and negotiated with the supplier again and changed it to 5 days. So with that, we saved almost $100,000 worth of inventory. We reduced it. So this report is very, very important. It will help on the continuous improvement matrix. So coming back to this, if you click onto this to the part number, what this will do is this will drill down and give you for every individual cards how long it takes. It could be because this will help us to determine, is it because of one particular time this happened, or it is continuously happening, or whatever is the reason. So you can drill down and see for every individual card at the card level. So the same way, can you go back to the previous screen, Lori? Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you see the part number 237, so you can see that that one particularly says that our lead time is just 5 days, but typically it takes 6.42 days. You may not stock out on this particular part because you may carry your extra inventory as a safety stock. Otherwise, your lead time is more than what is set. So it is better to go back and fix that, or negotiate with, talk to the supplier, find out what is the root cause for that. Is it because of one-time issue, or is it because they continuously, it is the actual, it takes actually 6 days. So we can go back and talk to the supplier and fix it so that we don't carry too much of inventory. So this is a very, very useful report. Can you click onto this, Lori?
All right. Which
drill
one?
Down. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah. So what this will do is, again, it will drill down and show you what happened to the average lead time versus what is set in the system. So in this particular case, there are 2 instances. We can see that 31 days and 32 days. That could be that period the supplier may have some issue. Other than that, it takes only 13 days. So we can go back and look at it and then work on this so that we can eliminate the stock out, as well as we can put the actual time. The same way, can you go back to the previous screen, the next part number? Yeah. Next. Yeah.
701?
70. Yeah, that's perfect. So in this particular part number, Lori was explaining on the thing whether the cards are cycling at the same frequency. If the cards are not cycling at the same frequency, which means either you might have lost that card, somebody pulled that material and forgot to scan it, or that part is not cycling for some reason. It might be under the desk of somebody else or something like that. So we may have to go back and move that part so that we can make sure that the first in first out concept is put into the system.
Okay, we have a couple of questions that came in on this that maybe other folks might be interested in as well. Is what is the standard deviation telling us here on this?
Okay. Typically, the standard deviation in here is how the supplier is supplier performance. If the parts are less than 3, so it means that the supplier is the turning the parts so quickly. If the turn is more, if the standard deviation more and more, it means that it is taking little longer time to process. So even you can see it in that example 8.51 means it is taking longer time. So the standard deviation for that particular period is more. If it is more, then we need to address it. There is an opportunity for improvement on that. If it is lower, then it will be a good thing. So you are turning the parts much more frequent at much more frequent interval.
All right, very good. And then another question on this, is the cycle time of the associated supplier also considered, or is it just for the main supplier only? So if this is in a dual supplier instance. So if we had a dual supplier for this item, would it be listed twice on here, one for each?
That is correct. That is correct. If the part is supplied by 2 suppliers, it will typically show 2 lines, one for each supplier.
Okay, and then each supplier's lead and transit time will be evaluated independently based on their particular performance.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
See, unfortunately, I don't think we have any examples of a dual supplier.
Right.
In a typical lean manufacturing environment, most of the companies are going towards one supplier because that gives them the confidence that they are going to buy it, so that you can get better negotiation on those things. But in some cases, there are customers using dual sourcing. Yes, in that particular case, it will analyze, because this cycle time report, if you really look at the drill down pattern itself, it is for a specific supplier, and it is for the specific part number, and this is calculated from the time you release it, the time the supplier ships it. So it will go into every individual supplier and analyze it.
Okay. All right, so we'll come back to our PowerPoint here. All right, I think we have one more poll question for you as we start to wrap things up a little bit. So we've gone over the 4 reports that we originally intended here. So I'm going to launch a poll for you here. So now that you're maybe a little bit more familiar with these reports, do you anticipate running them more in the future? All right, I see a lot of votes coming in. I'll give it about 10 more seconds here. Let some other folks submit. All right, looks like most people have voted here. Oh, we got somebody else sneaking in their vote. All right, I will go ahead and close this, and I will share those results with you. Looks like most of you will be doing some report running here, and looks like just a few of you still might need some more information, so please reach out to us if you need anything else. And I will go ahead and hide this, and it looks like we have a couple more questions that kind of are sneaking in here. So in the cycle time report, can we also see information for spike orders? So if there are spike orders, do those also show on that cycle time? I believe so, but I'll let Nandu maybe answer that.
Yeah, when we are calculating the cycle time, it doesn't know whether the particular card is a spike order or a regular card. So it will take that into the calculation.
All right.
Because that cycle time report takes only the time you release it, the time you get it, how long it takes on an average. I don't really, the one more question you can tell me, when you are creating the spike orders, are you leaving the system to calculate the required ship date, or you are specifically asking the supplier to ship it on a particular date earlier than the required ship date? It depends upon that. The cycle time report might give you a different result.
All right. All right, and we do have somebody who is, I think, maybe pretty good at, pretty fast at kind of doing a little bit of testing here, and maybe we can kind of verify this afterwards. They said that they checked in the supplier split. You know, they have a supplier split, and it does not list their part number twice, and it does average the lead time and transit time. So maybe we can double check that and verify that, but I have a feeling that person did a good job at their testing. We'll send a follow-up after this, after we look at a few things. This is about all that we have for now. I have some contact information up on the screen. If you need anything, certainly feel free to reach out to us. And Nando, unless you have anything else to add, I think that's about it.
Thanks all.
All right, thank you. Everybody have a good rest of the day.